Myles, as a young child, he was quite energetic, quite spiritual, and quite the environmentalist.
And your badge? Where's your name tag? There it is. See if we can get that in. All right. All on Miles' first communion.
He was an avid reader,
Oh,
a really avid reader.
liked pets, liked animals, liked life.
He liked to travel.
Mhm.
Yeah, he liked to get away and do things, that's for sure.
Miles was well liked by everybody. It seemed that all the teachers and educators had good words about him and for him. It seemed like all the little kids, when they would partner up with the older kids, everybody would kind of fight for Miles and a couple of his classmates.
Myles Neuts was my student in grade 4 and then again in grade 5. So 1997, 1998 would have been the years that he was a student of mine at this school right here, St. Agnes Catholic Elementary School in Chatham. Myles was a very creative young man, one of those students that usually got everybody a laugh or two.
My name is Sarah, and I was best friends with Myles since the day he was born. He was born on August 14th, 1987, and the day that he was born, his dad came over to our house and told my parents and I the good news. And I was just a couple months old, but my mom held me high in her arms and said, "Sarah, you and Myles are going to be best friends and lifelong friends," and she was right. We did a lot of things together.
There were two characters. Thank God they were young because they would play in silence for so long that you would wonder what they were up to. So Brenda thinks that one day that they pretended they got married.
Well, yeah, they did. They were playing whatever, and yeah. We ended up getting married, they said, yeah, so.
This ring is the ring that I wore when Myles and I pretended to get married. It's just like a simple 25-cent vending machine ring, but it means a lot more to me than that.
He was a peaceful kid. He was on the environmental team. He would have been part of the peacekeepers, which were the people that worked in this garden, where a prerequisite was that they were, quote, the peaceful kids in the school and not the ones that you'd maybe identify as problems on the playground. No, and to this day, I still don't think that I ever witnessed him in a situation that was confrontational at all, which makes it more puzzling.
I'd never heard Myles mention anything about bullying, which is why what happened to him came so out of the blue and surprised all of us so much, because he'd never mentioned anything about being unhappy at school or being bullied by anyone at all. So.
My 1998 wish for the world is to be more peaceful to others. My 1998 wish for my family is to be more organized and neat. My 1998 wish for me is to get my homework in on time.
Got a phone call from the school, just saying that one of the boys, didn't identify which boy, but one of the boys was choking and if we could come to the school. So I called Mike because he was already in town, and he took over from there.
As soon as she said it to me, I just had a lot of emotion, a lot of urgency, a lot of feelings I've never experienced before. And I was in a big hurry. I went to the school as fast as I could. I met the paramedics in front of the school, shutting up their ambulance. I was only talking to one, and I jumped in with him, and we went to that hospital, and we jumped out and went to the back, and he opened up his doors, and there was the other paramedic and a Chatham City police officer doing CPR on Myles, and he had no color, and his clothes were soiled, and I knew right away what that all meant. And then things just kept on happening and happening for like hours. I would say that the next 18 hours went by in a blur, a huge blur.
I didn't know what to think. I didn't really know how to feel. It took me a while to actually convince myself that, what my mom had just told me was actually right.
And finally, two doctors approached us and they said, "Mr. and Mrs. Neuts, your son Myles was found hanging on a coat hook on the back of a washroom door in the boys' washroom at school. He was unconscious, not breathing. No one knew how long he had been there. No one knew how he had gotten there.
And the first thought that came into my mind was like, oh no, he fell down and he scraped his knee. Like, he fell off his bike. I hope he's okay. And so I said, oh, that's too bad. Like, I'll go call him and make sure he's okay. And she said, no, Sarah, you can't call him because like, he's in a coma and he's not waking up. And the only things that are keeping him alive are the machines.
I believe Myles was in this stall. I believe the police removed the whole stall at one point. It used to be made out of metal, and they found fingerprints on the partition of the two stalls. So they don't know if Myles was actually lifted up and hung on the hook, or if Myles was against the door trying to keep somebody out. If we have all the other detail worked out right, it looks like he was in the washroom anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes total before help was summoned. Two boys most likely to have found him are the two boys most likely, the boys that somehow, some way know of how he got where he is. My heart's pounding. It is probably the first time I've been in here. Of all places for someone to pass away, this is the place. He died twice. Basically, he died in the school that day before he was taken off the hook. The work of the Chatham doctors and the life support machine actually extended his life by 6 more days to officially be declared dead and put the decision squarely on us. He had absolutely no brain activity. We questioned that for and one little piece of positivity from them might have swayed us to do something else, but there was none. We sat out there in the living room in the kitchen for God only knows how many hours, and we had raised voices, we had low voices, we had moments where we just walk away and, you know, you got to blow your nose and wipe your eyes and think of what in the hell you're discussing. And I forget what time it was. I think it was late, and I ended up starting calling people very late at night that we were going to unplug Myles the next day at the hospital. It can happen to anyone. Bullying can be by one person or many. It can happen anywhere. Bullying can include name calling. Have you heard people calling each other's names at school? Yeah. Do we know that's wrong? Yeah. That's a good thing. After Myles' death, we started researching and finding shortcomings in a lot of things. So we wanted to start a nonprofit to teach young people, A, how to get along, B, how to develop them and nurture them into people that can survive in our universe.
So Myles' dad, Mike, had an idea to start an organization called MCBN, and those initials are actually strategic. They're also the initials of Myles' full name, Myles Casey Benson Neuts. And so the organization, its short form is MCBN, but it actually stands for Make Children Better Now. Mike goes into different schools all around Canada and the States, and he does presentations in schools to kids to talk about Myles' story and how it's affected them, and also to talk about bullying, and to, you know, encourage kids if they're being bullied at school, to ask for help, and to encourage other kids, like, it's not okay to bully people.
So as Ms. Luby said, I'm here to talk to you about a personal story and about bullying, and that's because 13 years ago this February, I sent my 2 boys to school. My oldest son was in grade 5, 10 years old. My youngest son was in grade 1, 6 years old. And at the end of that day, and on that day that I'm talking about many years ago, only one of my sons came home. The account at the end of June of 2010 would have been 125,000 children that I alone have spoken to in my travels. For the most part, the letters around me right now are from a high school and a grade school, and they're telling me that I must continue, that it makes an awful lot of sense for me to share this tragedy with them because it causes a huge thought on their behalf, whether they are a bully, a victim, or a bystander.
Teasing can be teasing. Even adults tease. But it can lead to someone having their feelings hurt. And if your feelings are getting hurt by the teasing, you should be able to say stop. And if the friendship is good, it will stop. And if it's not, then somebody's starting to bully you and you've got to say goodbye because maybe they're not acting as a very good friend.
Bullying happens a lot because at my other school, every recess there would be a problem.
When I was in grade 3, a lot of people would bully because they wanted to be the power in older grades.
This person wanted to play, but the lead, like the ringleader sorta, would be like, you can't play. So every recess someone would be feeling like upset and left out.
I'm getting feedback that the school changed for days, weeks, moments. And I've had young people, total strangers to me, come to me and suggest that they were close to being suicidal because of repeated victimization. They're going to do everything that they can in their schools, either bullies or victims or bystanders, to change the culture so that there is no racism or sexism or homophobia and things like that.
After the presentation, it made me feel very sad, but in a way that that bullying shouldn't be tolerated. It should be dealt with right when it begins.
Somebody can get hurt, like Myles. He got very hurt. He didn't even come home from school.
I probably will help somebody if they're getting bullied because now I know how it feels.
I do see Myles sometimes in some of the kids I speak to. Some of them wearing glasses, and the glass is just slightly ajar sitting on their nose, and every time I see a little one with wire glasses like that, I think of Myles. It's pretty funny, actually. But the more I watch him, the more I see him, it's pretty cool, actually. There's no doubt in my mind we'd be proud of him. He'd be an enormous talent of whatever that talent would have been to this world. He had a genuine care for everything and everybody, and that's pretty rare for anyone, let alone a kid that young.